What's going on? I hope you're happy, healthy, doing the things you love doing with those that you love doing them with. I'm now about to get to your reading. Let's get into the meat and bones of your reading. And before I start, I need you to like, comment, share, subscribe, press the notification bell. And if you're into getting paid readings or paid services, shall I say, I do readings, rituals, or forecasts. All you got to do is DM me clarity on my Instagram or on TikTok. That's on Sorcerer X. Yeah, DM me clarity and let me know your situation. You can always click the link in the description that will take you to my website, or alternatively, email me. Email address is in the description as well. So let's get into your reading and let's see what Spirit has to say. Okay, so there's deep emotional releases that you've got to do right now. There's the focus about you realizing that you don't necessarily need to think of everything all at once and you need to break things down. That's what I see from Source. Now, this is feelings of having to recalibrate how you view things and how you deal with your issues, all right? What I'm seeing right now is like sometimes you feel like the world, like you're carrying the world, i.e. like your family, like your friends, people's situations, and sometimes it's a situation that could just be too much, because when you reassess and you actually think about your own issues and you've neglected, timing. I don't know if you can hear that, but there was a watch that just alarmed and I said that like you may have neglected yourself and the alarm clock shifted. So yes, that's a great sign. You're going to need to release that energy right now, because essentially the problem that you have at this moment is not able to help anyone else. If you're trying to help everyone, you're not going to help. You're not helping at all. You're not helping yourself. You're not helping the people around you that are dear towards you. But most importantly, you need to focus on putting you first before you can figure out how you're going to help other people. All right? Because the truth and the reality is, what I'm seeing right now is that if you are not listening to what your guides are saying, you're going to have a tower moment. That's a crash out. That's a feeling of feeling exhausted, emotional, draining energy that I feel. And I feel very much that Spirit's trying to guide you towards the essence of you having to eliminate certain things. Less is more in life, right? And if you carry the weight of expectations in relations towards your own life and as well as your friends' lives, guess what? The reality is that you will crash and burn, and we don't want for you to go through that energy. I don't want you to go through that energy. I think it's essential that within ourselves, we have to look in the mirror and ask us, are we doing what's best for us, or are we focusing on what's best for others? And if it's the latter rather than the former, you're not going to help yourself, especially with the Ten of Swords. The Ten of Swords is letting you know that eventually what you are creating is a house of cards. And if one of the cards from that deck fall off, they fall, all of the stacks of cards will fall. And then you're left with a tower moment, having to pick yourself up again. Whereas if you're building foundations with strength and being able to be more stronger in terms of your foundations, if one thing falls off that building, it won't ever be a situation like the House of Cards. I think it's important and imperative that you have to look from an emotional point of view of what is something. You have to look from an emotional point of view, and you have to be real that in order for you to aid this energy of your emotions, you have to look at it from a logic point of view. What am I willing to eliminate? Are the things that I'm hearing from my friends, are they things I need to prioritize at the moment? Because I'm hearing that your energy is really drained by people and that you're not really respecting what you need to hear. There's an essence of like them taking your magic away from you and you not actually bringing that spark back into your life. Now, the opportunities of changes are there, right? And this is what I'm saying. This is what my guides say. Once you're able to change this mindset and really look into the finer details in your life, you're automatically going to shift the parallels of your life and actually become more lighter in nature. But ultimately, by moving away from the situation, prioritizing yourself, you're able to actually regenerate during this time and alchemize your energy. Now, the purpose of this isn't anything to do with your friends. It's ultimately about you. And you having to deal with yourself at this moment in time gives you the impetus to recharge, to recoup your energies, and give you an understanding of who should you give your time to as opposed to who you shouldn't. Because I'm guarantee you right now that the people that you are giving yourself to, they know that they could deal with things on their own, but it's easier because you're giving yourself too much access to these people. Now, if you are more giving yourself of a energy of governing your own boundaries, then and giving yourself that and saying this is what I've got to do to protect myself, you are absolutely going to feel a big change in your life. And then that gives you more of a control of who you can discern and who you can say that I should give my time to. Yeah, you've got the justice card. This is about weighing up your options as well as understanding that in your life, sometimes you have to really evaluate that perhaps I'm giving too much energy to other people than to myself or to the wrong people. And that's even worse. So there is going to be a full circle moment, especially with the World card. But ultimately, this is about you standing on your 10 toes and having to tell yourself that you need to put you first. And without doing that, you're not going to see any real changes. But ultimately, I see that you will. I feel like at the end of the day, this is a lesson that you've learned. And at the end of the day, this is a valuable lesson. This is a energy of, in its nature, something that I would recommend you if you could put yourself first, and I see that energy of self-love, especially with the Two of Cups. Again, with the Four of Swords, the world is yours. The world is yours again. It's how you view what you should put first. And if you put yourself first, that's an act of self-love. That's an act of self-care. That's an act of a intention of saying, I don't want to be in any way or shape or form taken advantage of. That's just the harsh truths and harsh realities. All right? That was your reading. If you do need guidance and you feel like this resonates, I do offer paid services such as readings, rituals, forecasts. All you got to do is DM me clarity on my Instagram or TikTok, that's Sorcerer X, or you can click the link to the description and that link connects you to my website. Alternatively, you can always email me. My email address is in my description, shall I say. And that was your reading. I really enjoyed your energy. I feel like give yourself grace, be real to yourself. Authenticity is the highest form of vibration. And if you need to feel, you need to feel. And how you respond to it is what's going to create an opportunity of elevation. All right? That was your reading. Take care. Sorcerer.